All right, our next speaker will be Mark Daniel, and he'll be talking about the Cybathlon.
Well, I'm standing here today in front of y'all because of y'all. I mean, essentially I can thank IHMC and the engineers that stand behind me and that have built this device, but it's the science. It's all of y'all putting your minds together to come together for a good cause and for good reason. You know, we want to solve problems. And when I told Billy that I wanted to get up here and explain something emotional to y'all and give you something to really to see what your work really comes out to, he kind of laughed. He's like, engineers are heartless. They don't care about the feelings. You know, and in some senses I can see that. But I mean, it's not fully true. We know that. You know, the reason that y'all want to solve the problems is because y'all want to help people, whether it be for convenience, manufacturing, industry, me. There's more than I could ever explain or ask for me to be here. Growing up, I was as far away from technology as possible. I did construction. I mean, I grew up on digging ditches before I was 10 years old. And to turn 18 and be paralyzed, I thought that I was going to lose that ability to innovate and to build things and to be a part of a team like that. And this has definitely proven me wrong. And so as much as I feel like the least qualified person to be up here speaking to everybody, you know, I can really just only give y'all the appreciation that millions of other people like me have. And that's why I'm here. And it's essentially because of y'all. You know, I may be volunteering for the project, and unfortunately I get to do the speaking and be in the pictures. I don't so much like being the center of attention. But I really feel like y'all sometimes could use the encouragement, because I know y'all are constantly hitting problems. Y'all are always the ones that everybody comes to with the issue. And I wanted to stand up here in front of you guys today and let you know that we're getting there. Evidently one step at a time, but we're moving. And because of all the work put in here and across the world in y'all's labs, you know, I'm able to stand up here and actually look all of y'all in the eye. And for the first time in a very long time, y'all are the ones sitting down and I'm looking down at you. And that may seem like a very simple thing, but it changes the whole dynamic whenever you speak with people. Being eye to eye, especially coming like me from the construction trade, where it's always looking someone in the face, eye to eye, shaking hands. That's where you make your deals, and that's where you get things across. And so to have the ability to do this now, I can only say thank you. And hopefully we'll be able to push this forward and learn from my mistakes. Maybe I can fall down and we'll learn something from it. You know, well, Tyson won't let me hit the ground, I know that. You know, so really guys, that's why I'm up here. I want y'all to see what y'all have accomplished so far. You know, the guys here at HMC and the team, of course, you know, they're the ones that put this robot together, but I know it's all the minds that are sitting here in front of me today that are what makes this stuff possible. So thank you for guys from me and, you know, the people like me that may not be able to get up here and speak, but thank you guys very much. I appreciate this. I think I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of a stroll for a minute. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all ears, guys. A little shaky, but I'm all ears.
So I have the mic, so I get to start.
That's right.
No, I just want to thank you so much for coming and sharing your experiences with us. And honestly, without individuals like yourself, without you, we wouldn't be able to try new things and make the progress that we're making. And so coming back and bringing it full circle is so meaningful. And we honestly can't thank you enough.
Like I said, I get a lot of pats on the back, and I get a lot of encouragement from everybody, and I really try to turn that around to you guys, because I mean, I'm like the kid that got the dirt bike and got to ride around on it, but I didn't build the dirt bike. And it's a lot of fun this way. I get to interact with y'all, and I'm learning. I've had more opportunity because of being part of this project than I ever would have on my own, being a construction handyman or a welder like I was. So it's a give and take for both sides, for sure.
So, again, thank you for coming to talk to us and share your experience. At this point in history, you find yourself at the forefront and the leading edge as a user of these technologies and in a sense, a driver of the technologies. What is your greatest hope and greatest fear for the ultimate sort of plateau or end state for this technology?
For exoskeletons, I'm pretty sure Peter picked me because he knows I'm not afraid of where we can go with it. But the only thing that the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is honestly, it's the simple stuff. I don't have any children now, but a lot of y'all do, and the biggest things that we miss are the little things. So you think of coming home, hugging your wife, you know what I mean, things like that, spinning your child around, and that's where I look where we can go, where the wheelchairs essentially, they had those in ancient Egypt. This is a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000-year-old piece of technology, and then we're changing it into the modern times. So I'd like to see that transition go from the wheelchair to, okay, you're not going to walk with your own legs anymore, but we'll put you in the exoskeleton and you go right back to work. So that's where I'd like to see.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you. I think you had a point, and you proved the point, and you made all the heartless engineers a little emotional. Thank you.
Y'all don't go getting mushy on me now.
When you were going around the city in Switzerland.
Wait, there we are.
Hello.
Hey.
When you're going around the city in Switzerland, what did you find the one thing you found surprising to be able to do, and what was the one thing you found surprising not to be able to do with the EXO?
Honestly, there was a road that I was trying to get up, and I kind of pride myself on being able to do whatever I want to do in my wheelchair. And I can thank Jesper, wherever he is, for helping me get up that hill. That was the steepest incline I have ever seen. And I think the most surprising part was Tyson not killing me when I rolled down it as fast as I could on the way back. But really, Switzerland was surprisingly adaptable. There was definitely places that I couldn't go, and stuff like that on my own. But I think one of the most encouraging sides of being in Switzerland and really my whole trip across Europe was the fact that I ran into a lot of buildings that weren't handicap accessible, but the willingness of people that didn't know me, couldn't understand me, that were willing to just simply pick me in the chair and all up at once and get me wherever I needed to go, or make access however need be. So.
Thank you.
Hey man, so I know we were kind of talking about it earlier, but I think it might be useful, like what things, since we really make these technologies to like help you out and help people that are like in these situations, like what do you think would you like to see changed about these technologies? Like, what are the biggest problems that you see with exos that you would like to see changed?
Well, I mean, at the infancy kind of level where we're at, I mean, we really are just breaking ground. I mean, exoskeletons have been coming out for a long time, but we're really starting to get to the point where the batteries are able to keep up, the motors are getting strong enough, things like that. The development is just a matter of time. I mean, you take the Model T, it was a car and it can go from one place to another. It took 40, 50 years to get to the point of, 200, 300, 400 horsepower and smooth ride and things like that. So I mean, that's essentially where we're at, and we'll build through there. And as far as like people, like the role of people like me in this situation is really for them to take the risk. And I know it's hard, especially being in a wheelchair. I understand that that you get uncomfortable being in the chair, and that's kind of the biggest thing I'd like to change, if I can have a hand in it, is to encourage people like me to get out there and to take those risks and to volunteer for the work, and don't be afraid. These guys, Tyson, of course, more than most, but everybody on the team, that if I'm in the exo, if something's going on, these guys are on cue and they take care of everything. They don't want me to get hurt. Everything test runs on Tyson first.
Thanks, man.
So we can, I could step in that exo and experience what it feels like to me, but I'm wondering what it feels like to you, not so much on an emotional level, but where you get to, are you feel some sensation in your upper body, but when the legs move?
Okay, so the physical, the improvements or the things that I gain or lose because of the exo?
I'd love to know that too, but also just when you, your sort of sensation of it while you're using it.
What is it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a what is it to you?
It's like learning to ride a bicycle in a sense. I mean, I get in it and I'm so curious as to where I can go and what I can do. There's not really a thought process to it as much as I know that I'm stepping, and it's like, okay, how can I time this a little bit better? The experience for me is a learning thing. I'm feeling, it feels a smooth step and I'm able to get around, but I know there's more to that if I can push it.
What are you timing?
I'm timing my steps and my crutch movements, balance and things like that all come into play, and it's all at once. So whenever I take, where's it at? There we go. Oh, that's it. The I guess the hardest part was learning to trust that the machine was going to move and learning how it was going to move. And then, like Tyson said, with the parallel bars and all that, that gave me that ability to find my kind of center. Because up here, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, I hit a back button basically. I broke it.
So when we first developed our first version, you see out in the lobby, us engineers would take steps in it, and we're like, oh, this is pretty easy. Then we had someone who's able-bodied who never walked in it, take a few steps, like, we're done. We're like, we're gonna get someone who's paralyzed and walk, and it's gonna be really easy. We had Mark try it out, and his crutches are going wild. And I'm like, what are you doing? Just easy, just like you take a step, move your crutch, take a step. And we realized we have sensation under our feet. And so I know where my stability point is, that I can get a reference point of how well I'm balanced compared to, vestibular and ocular just aren't fine enough to feel that center of pressure movement.
I'm not touching nothing.
So without that feedback, his stability point is, through his feet or through his crutches. So even just one crutch with a small amount of force is enough to create a new kinematic chain that he can feel those motions. The same way that, if you're drunk, you're gonna just put your hand on the wall, or if you have loss of balance, and you can now, feel your relative motion of your body because you have a new kinematic chain. And so understanding that the crutch on the ground is important, not only for balance, because he transmits force, but also for reference point, knowing how his center of mass is distributed. And that's where we're going next is, you'll see in one of the talks, is giving him feedback as to where his center of pressure is.
Hit the button.
Well, the video.
Okay, thank you again for being here with us.
There you are.
Can you make some comments on what was your feeling on the very first day with the exosuit and with the team?
I'm not quite sure I understand the ability.
Your feeling on the very first day?
Oh, the
of
very
using the
first
thing?
day?
Yep.
That was, I mean, are we going back all the way to 2010? Okay. There was a lot going on in that one. I mean, at that point, it was 3 years after my accident, and the idea of being on my feet and all that was pretty much a lost cause for me at that point. So whenever we actually got strapped in and I was standing on my own, I mean, I'm not the most emotional guy in the world, but it was very hard to just to hold back the tears in a sense. You know, it's simply explained. It's the warmest feeling in your chest that you can get without passing out. I mean, it's a nice feeling, and that's really all it was just pure joy.
All right, we have time for one more question. I think we'll, yep.
Okay, this one actually comes from someone who used to work at IHMC and was here during the Cybathlon, so it's some inside baseball. At one point, when you were training for the Cybathlon and in the EXO on a regular basis, you mentioned you were regaining some sensation and response in your legs after extended walking. Can you talk about how walking in the EXO changed your muscles and like the physical changes you underwent during the time when you were in the EXO regularly?
Yes, absolutely. Simply put, the human body was not meant to sit down. We were meant to be on our feet. We were meant to be mobile. And for me to be back on my feet, y'all have seen the spasms while I've been standing here, the shakes and stuff like that that I've been putting up with. The spasms while I'm in here today over the next, or the 20 minutes that I'll be in it right now, the spasms will go down and go away for a few hours, pretty much relaxed. And over time, you're talking about bone density, so spasticity, bone density. You're looking at actually stretching out your tendons and ligaments that you would normally, like me, you bind up your hamstrings and stuff like that, so I can't actually extend my legs sometimes because they're so tight. So you spend time up and on your feet in the positions you're supposed to, going through the motions, and you're talking about, like I said, blood flow, bone density. You're going back to where you should be. So all the benefits of stretching and all that without the nasty work of stretching, so to speak. So the feeling that he brought up was actually something that I picked up on over time. And I don't know if it's from standing up or what it was from, but it seems that after we spent a few weeks in the EXO, if I leaned forward, I could get a sense of toe to heel like this. And even now, it sends like a shock wave through my feet to move like this, to change weight. So those are the real, I don't know if it's because of the EXO or the EXO is making those, more prevalent, but it definitely is a noticeable change over a day, and you give it a couple weeks and there's a definite change in how my legs move and how they react to things, so.
Encore question.
Okay. I mean, maybe this is out of bounds, but I'm sort of curious what we are seeing. What is that machine doing, and what is it sensing, and how is it deciding? Is there a quick description? And then the second part of that is, how does it compare to other exoskeletons, other state-of-the-art exoskeletons? Can you give
I'll answer that quick. So this is a sagittal plane actuation, hip, knee, and ankle. And each joint is identical, about 120 newton meters of torque at each joint, all position control based. He's controlling the positions from his crutch. So he's actuating, commanding what position trajectory we're going to execute. There's no feedback. It doesn't know when it hits the ground, doesn't know what angle it is. It's kind of a complex wind-up toy, almost similar to all the other exos out there, except we have a powered ankle, which that I feel is a significant difference amongst the other exoskeletons, other than Wondercraft, which has 12 actuators or 6 per leg. The commercial ones are only hip and knee actuation. And we think with the powered ankle, well, we actually demonstrated with able-bodied people, we're able to walk at about 0.75 meters a second with very little tuning. We think we can get much, faster and then do active balance control.
How many degrees of freedom in the controller? Is it one trajectory?
One time.
One circular trajectory.
Right, it's all time-based. All the joints have a time tracking based on that. It is parameterized, so we can take different length steps, and then stairs and slopes and all that.
Essentially, I'm in control of when I step for each step, and then I pick a mode. So flat walking right now, and we have short, medium, and long steps, and then we go to slope, and that gives me a little bit of a edge there that bends the ankles forward steps, and we have it all programmed into certain ADA standards, things like that to get through. But I'm in control of each step, and I have to balance as I go.
Thank you again to Mark. He'll be available for questions after this if you have remaining questions. And that was awesome. All right, we've got a few spotlight videos up next to take us into the break. When your video's up, please stand on the stage.